Hello, I'm Film Club reporter Andre, and we're coming live to you from the London Film Club Festival, BFI.
Hi, my name's Daniel and I work at the Film Club as a school support coordinator. And as Andre said, we are coming to you live from the London Film Festival here in the annals of the BFI. I wanted to say a big hello to Ingleby Mill Primary School. They sent in some questions, and a shout out to any of you other schools who are watching. If you have any questions that you'd like to send in to us or our guest today, you can probably see it all kind of streaming along the bottom, so please do tweet in or email us. But without further ado, I want to welcome our very, very special guest. We've got Andy Gent, who worked on Tim Burton's Frankenweenie as the head of puppets. Andy, welcome to our humble Film Club studio.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
You too. Before we do get into the interview today with Andy, we're just going to watch a short clip of Frankenweenie. So I will see you in a moment.
Something big is gonna happen.
The reason I wanted to do this film was based on growing up loving the Frankenstein movies and also my relationship with a certain dog that I had.
Victor brought an animal back to life.
I can fix that.
I think anytime you are asked to do anything with Tim Burton, I think you'd be foolish not to jump at it.
Rise, Colossus. Rise from your tomb.
This is such a personal project, so it was nice to work with some people that I'd worked with before.
I was incredibly touched that he asked me to be a part of this project. He's just so talented.
There's a beauty to stop motion. I mean, there's an amazing artistry that goes into that. You can spend hours looking at the detail that people have put into it.
I can't believe it!
Frankenweenie's got so much heart.
Sparky!
But it's also very thrilling.
It certainly was exciting.
Yeah, it was a big finish.
Andy, could you give us a brief synopsis of the film, please?
Well, it's a story about a little boy who's got a dog that he's very much attached to, and who very early on in the film has an accident, and he can't bear to be without him. So during a science experiment, he realises there's the potential to bring him back, and so he sets up a little experiment and brings him back from the dead, which causes a lot of problems later on.
Okay. What was your contribution to the movie?
Well, I was in charge of the puppet department and the puppet hospital, so we were making a lot of the puppets for the film, and then for the whole duration, which was 2.5 years of work, we were looking after them and repairing them. So if a costume got dirty, we'd make sure that it was cleaned and it looked the same as it did before. If the silicone finger broke, we'd have to repair it and make it all look good again and repaint it. Make sure his hair's correct in each shot, so we'd comb his hair and make sure it's all put in. All those parts what fall into the puppet hospital. So anything to do with them, how they look and what they do, we'd look after that.
And not saying your craftsmanship was bad, but did you have many patients in the puppet hospital?
Oh yes, they were always coming into the hospital. We'd have lots of puppets that would come back in on a daily basis. We'd be repairing stuff, and we'd have sometimes that one of the puppet nurses would go down onto set and do a repair during a shot. So we have walkie-talkies, and the animators would walkie up and say, we've got a Vict who's got a torn lip or a broken finger, or his shoelaces have come undone, so can we go and work on that? And so 11 hours a day, a team of 8 or 9 people working constantly on several hundred puppets, making sure they're all looking good.
So just carrying on from the puppet hospital, what was your most serious kind of injury? Not yours, but the puppets.
There was an exploding sea monkey, which was pretty bad.
He wasn't meant to explode.
He was supposed to explode at that point. But if you imagine when you're doing a shot like that, we would literally sort of cut one of the puppets apart.
Oh, okay.
So if it didn't work out very well, that's quite a big repair job. So that would be one of the examples. But often the mechanical parts, the armatures, the sort of the metal parts that are inside would break, and sometimes we'd have to bring the puppet back to the hospital, take all of the parts, strip it right down, and then work on some of the mechanical parts inside, and then put it all back together again and try and get it back onto the set. So if it breaks mid-shot, it's one of the worst moments for us.
Okay.
Scary.
Brilliant, thank you. We're now going to watch a short clip which was taken at the Frankenweenie exhibition, which is at the BFI at the moment. And myself and Andre are very lucky to have a look around. So we'll see you in a moment.
This is Tim Burton's desk with all his things that he worked with, like his original models and drawings. All the models were really expensive. Like that dog, Sparky, was about £40,000. And up here it's got like the clothes for the characters when they were trying out different fabrics. And they're actually so detailed, it looks like miniature clothes that we would actually wear. And up here they had to make loads and loads of different faces for when they were moving and talking. So there had to be so much detail in everything.
Did you have a favourite character and why?
I quite liked Edgar, I have to say. He was a really lovely puppet to see. Sparky is obviously, I mean, I've got a dog of my own, so it was really nice to see Sparky come to life. But there's some really funny moments with Edgar. I think he gets to steal the show sometimes, so it's quite nice to see him. So yeah, I quite liked Edgar out of all.
Okay.
Now we've all been talking through this interview. I happened to notice we've got some puppets here from the film. Were these actually used in the film itself?
Yeah, these are all original puppets from the movie. You've got a Victor here in front, who you can see.
He's got real hair, hasn't he?
He's got real hair. There you go.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we sort of move him around. You've got a real Sparky. He's just wagging his tail to make sure he's alive. Well, that one's actually a dead one, but we. And then one of the overscale parts. What I brought here, just to show you, is that some of the smallest puppets we've got, which would just fit on your fingertip, to some of the biggest puppets we've got, which are sort of close-up shots. So that little fella there is a sea monkey. He was the tiniest little character we've got, which you'll see in some of the films. And so if we have a puppet that's that small, it means we can build a bigger set, so you can make the world, more of the world, and shoot that on film. And then for the close-up shots, we've got this little, well, not so little, but this is one of the very same character. This is when we want to see his hand in close-up, so you can get all those lovely details on it, and the animators can move it and do really subtle things. So there's a couple of different scales, but these are all things that were in the movie. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay. Was it hard putting all the details into the characters and the sets?
Yes, it is. It's a pretty difficult thing. If you were going to make your own puppet, once you've picked the scale for it, you've got to make everything for it and all the things it sort of comes into contact with. So with Sparky alone, there's 300 stitches on that one puppet, and they all have to be painted in one at a time. It's got hundreds of working parts into it, so there's awful amounts of detail that you've got to look after. All the teeth have to be the same. If you've got 12 puppets, they all have to look identical to each other. So it's lots and lots of detail work, and you're sort of concentrating on that all the time. If you look at that sea monkey hand, somebody's had to stand with a piece of plasticine and put every little wart and sort of wrinkle onto that and make sure it matches up with the ones before it. So there's sort of, days and days and days of sculpting work before we even start the other things. And we all have to make sure that each one, if it's 12 or 15 puppets, all look identical. So a lot of attention for detail, yeah.
How much would my parents have to pay to get one of these for Christmas?
Well, if you talk to the right person, I think the very first puppets take a lot of time to work out. So you might have 10, 20 or more people working for a year or so to develop all the things and to make sure that it can do all of the actions it needs to do. Because not only has it got to look like a sort of fantastic, fully sort of beautiful realisation of what Tim's drawn, it's also got to work and it's got to move and it's got to pose and do different things. So if you add up all of those people's times, you might be looking as much as £50,000 to £60,000 for one puppet.
Okay, so that's not
It's
going to
going to be quite an expensive Christmas present, isn't it? I think we maybe have to combine Christmas and maybe 100 birthdays together
so,
for that.
okay, yeah.
Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to watch another clip which was taken from the Frankenweenie exhibition. See you in a moment.
This set personally is actually my favourite because I feel that it's got so much detail in it. Like over here on the box, it's actually got like the codes and everything that you'd actually have. It looks exactly like what a school classroom would look like. It's got all the textbooks and the writing, and it's got all the things that a school would have, like the skeleton and the blackboard with the chalk writing. And it's also got like the paints and all the books that they would use.
Hi and welcome back. And sticking with the school theme, Andy, we've got some questions in from Inglebury Primary School. So, Andre, take it away.
They've asked, what inspired you to make the film black and white?
Well, hi to Inglebury Primary School. For Tim to make it black and white, the original film he worked on many years ago was done as a sort of a black and white movie, and he really wanted it to look the same as that film. So for the new feature film version, it was very important to him to keep faithful to the original one. So it's basically making sure it looked very similar to the one that he'd done back at Disney many years ago.
Okay. How many movies have you actually animated?
I haven't actually animated on any of them. I've made the puppets for quite a few of them, and all the different sort of parts like sets and the mechanical effects on them, but it's about 6 feature films now, so about 10 years work.
Oh wow. And many more hopefully to come.
Hopefully, yeah.
And they also ask, what gave you the idea to make a dog Frankenstein?
I think that's very much a Tim Burton thing. It's it's a classic kind of horror movie sort of homage to bring him back to life. And I think, if I remember rightly, Tim had a dog himself that he sadly lost. So you can quite easily see why you'd want to bring him back to life. If you really love your pet, it's the only way forward.
And the final question from the school, they asked, what is your favourite film you worked on and why?
Oh, I think it's Frankenweenie for sure. It's been the most enjoyable experience. And to work on a black and white movie was one of the things I've always wanted to do. And also owning my own dog, to make your own dog's quite a nice thing to do.
Brilliant, thank you. Now I think we've had some voicemails sent in from some of our schools, so I'm going to listen out for the voice above and see if we can hear any voicemails. Can we hear any?
Hi, it's Tammy from Newnham Junior School. I went to the Frankenweenie press conference and was so surprised the puppets were really tiny. Does this make them difficult to work with? Thanks.
So just to reiterate what Tanvi from Newman Junior School said, she said, are the tiny puppets difficult to work with?
Well, hi Tandy. Yeah, they are quite a difficult thing to work with. The reason that we make them so small is so we can create the whole world that they're in. And the reason we picked the scale for this particular film was because we had to make Sparky do so many different things. This was pretty well as small as we could make him. So if you look at his tiny little ankles, they're able to move and flex like a real dog's would. But that meant using one of the smallest mechanical joints that we've ever been able to make. But it meant that he could do that piece of action. So it does make it very challenging. It's really difficult to make them that small, but they've also got to last a long period of time. So we're always fighting to make them sort of bomb-proof, because they've got to survive being moved around by giants for over 2 years. So it is a big challenge. Yes, a good question.
Thank you. And I think we've got one more, so I'm going to listen out, see if we can hear that. Can we hear it, Andy?
Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm 9 and I go to St Michael's School. It's exciting that you're filmed in a festival.
Okay, so we've got Caroline, 9, from St Michael's School, and she's asking, Are you excited about kind of Frankenweenie being in the London Film Festival?
Hi Carolyn, yes, very excited about it. It was really lovely to be there to see it open the festival and to see it on the big screen for the first time, and all of the to get everybody together to see it. So when you've worked with so many amazing people and then you see the sort of finished film, it's quite a good experience.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, we are kind of fast running out of time now, so all that's kind of left is for me to give a high five to my interview partner and to thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much, it's been lovely.
And thank you for being such a great guest and kind of letting us know about all these kind of amazing models.
Should we do a high five?
Go for it.
Should we do it with this?
Yeah.
You ready? Okay, ready, steady, go, there you go.
I feel a bit left out now.
Oh, there you go.
But before we go, I'd just like to tell you about a film club competition we are running, where you and your class get the chance to have your very own private screening of Frankenweenie at your local cinema. Basically, the details are on our website, but I think you've got some information on that too.
It's easy to enter. All you need to do is email the name of your teacher and why they are your favourite teacher. The competition closes on Wednesday the 24th of October next week. Good luck.
Yeah, like we say, all the details are on the website. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and bye.
Bye.